aggressive on the offensive end, but this is the kind of
Williams, the D-Hop. Fox, goodbye. Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball.
Ah, yes, indeed. That's right around the corner. But today, Rhino, we talk NFL. Why don't we get right into it? If you are a 49ers fan, how they lost that game yesterday, too many drop balls, Ayuk in particular, and now Purdy is hurt. We don't know about his status. Oh, my goodness.
It's a nightmare start to the season and a continuation, should we say, of training camp, Grant.
Yep.
It's really what it's been. And all three phases of the game have not clicked for them. One side of the ball is not picking up the other, and the special teams a complete mess, Grant.
I said that 14-0, the 49ers were driving. I thought they had a chance to really take complete control of the game. Third down, Purdy made a beautiful pass to Ayuk, and he drops it. 49ers punted. Rams score on the ensuing possession, kept them in the game, and eventually they were able to win. Too many drop balls yesterday. Just can't have that.
Far too many drop balls with an offense that at times looked great. Juwan Jennings, 3 touchdowns, 175 yards, explosive. Looks like your number one receiver, Niner fan, to be quite honest with you. But it's the little things, the things the Niners usually prepare for. The fact that you have a running back in as the personal protector on a 4th and 5, 4th and 6, that you don't identify that. That's a defense that's just too good, Grant, to be making those mistakes.
Well, to me, the two surprise teams right now in the NFL in each conference, in the NFC, it's the Minnesota Vikings, Sam Darnold and the Vikings, but their defense has been a story. And then Mike Tomlin. I mean, all the guy does is win. He's unbelievable. Looks like Justin Fields now is the guy. You know, he wasn't going to start, but Russell Wilson got injured right before week 1. He was going to be the starting quarterback, and now Fields has got this team at 3-0.
Yeah, absolutely. To your first point, the Vikings, their defense, the defense is incredible that they are running right now with Coach Flores. They made CJ Stroud look pedestrian. 5 sacks, 2 interceptions. The Texans were 3 of 13 on third down. As for the Steelers, their brand of football translates. It translates to January, translates to February. So very surprised with them. The other team I'm going to throw in there, Grant, the Packers. They've got it done without Jordan Love. Not a lot of people had that on their scorecard.
Malik Willis stepping in relief. Look at the backup quarterbacks and what they're doing right now in the NFL. It's pretty darn impressive, especially when you look at what Andy Dalton did against the Raiders. And, you know, I don't know Antonio Pierce. I don't get him. I really don't. You know, in his press conference after the game, he said some of our players made business decisions and we'll make our business decisions. You know, what does that mean? Does that mean guys quit on him and now he's going to cut guys? Well, you know, if you're going to say that, then you need to cut a player or two.
Yeah, that's not one of those things that you throw out there more than once in a season without some action behind it. Really quick, because I don't know what to make of that either. What did you make of Carolina? Was that strictly the quarterback position, or do you think the team was picked up?
I think it was a combination of both, and I'm really looking forward to talking to Sean Salisbury on Wednesday at 3:00 right here, you know, about that because, you know, listen, Andy Dalton is a journeyman quarterback in the National Football League, but he's got a lot of experience, and he was a starter for a number of years. Clearly, Bryce Young did not have the confidence of his teammates. He didn't play with any confidence, and it was a broken football team. So it just seemed like everyone responded. But I got to tell you, as good as the Raiders were last week against Baltimore, that's how bad they were yesterday. They were embarrassing yesterday.
Yeah, it was bad. The defense, Max Crosby getting hurt early, that did not do them any favors. In many ways, actually, Carolina is in a similar position that the Raiders were in last year when they made the quarterback change, made the coaching change, see how that fires that team up.
And then in week 1, after the Cowboys beat Cleveland, all I heard about was Mike Zimmer this, Mike Zimmer that. What a great job he's doing on defense. Kevin Burkhardt and Tom Brady couldn't stop, you know, just completely losing it over the Cowboys defense. Well, here's what we've learned in 3 weeks. The Browns aren't very good.
Nope.
The Giants went in there yesterday and beat the Browns and really controlled the whole game. And so, you know, you got to be careful when you make comments early in the season because there are certain teams that look good in an opening game win, and then they don't look good the following weeks. Dallas looked very good in that game. Dallas in the last 2 games has gotten annihilated. The game yesterday was not nearly as close as the score indicated. The week before, the Saints went into Dallas and embarrassed them. Okay? And then yesterday, you had the Cowboys out of the game before they even knew what hit them. Baltimore destroyed them yesterday.
Yeah, they were not going to go 0-3. John Harbaugh was not going to have it. It was typical Ravens football. And the fact that you can't game plan for Lamar Jackson, it's pretty straightforward with what Lamar Jackson's going to do. He killed them on the ground, and he killed them making the right plays with the option.
Gabriel says, I'm hearing that Minshew could be replaced. He could be benched in favor of O'Connell, but, it's not going to matter. The Raiders are not very good. They're just not. So, I mean, they're not. And then you got teams like the Chiefs, and they just find ways to win. That's it. They find ways to win.
They're grinders, and they're not hitting on all cylinders. They're dealing with injuries with Pacheco. Travis Kelce has not nearly been as involved as he usually is, but that's a championship team right there for you. And I was impressed, though. How do you think the Falcons showed up last night?
Listen, the Falcons to me are a little bit better than I thought, to be honest with you. I'll tell you, when it's 4th and short, I hate running the ball wide.
Yes.
I hate that call. If you got 4th and less than a yard, why are you running the ball on a sweep? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. It just does not make sense to me. I've never understood that. I know they didn't make it on 3rd and short, but you know what? If you can't make it again on 4th and short between the tackles, then you don't deserve to win the game. When you run the ball wide, it just takes too long to develop, and you give the defense a chance to make a play, and that's what happened yesterday. I don't understand that.
Well, it's extremely predictable, especially when your quarterback doesn't give you any nuance with his legs. Kirk Cousins isn't quarterback sneaking that ball, especially coming off the Achilles. So it's got to go to one place. And, that's where it's the perfect time to leak a guy out of the backfield. Throw the ball. What's it going to hurt in that situation?
Who's in first place in the NFC West, Rhino?
That would be my Seattle Seahawks, Napes. Pretty impressive stuff from them. The offense has been the surprise this year. Defense cracking as they always do, Napes.
Gabriel said would have put Penix in for that 4th down play. I wouldn't have.
No.
You've got a completely different situation. You've got you can't take a quarterback that hasn't played and put him in that situation. You've got the center exchange. If you're going under center, if you're going out of the gun, there's too many. No. I would not do that.
Yeah, I am with you. And to your your question or your statement earlier about finding out what teams are or who they are, I think we got a couple of those playing tonight. Buffalo. Isn't tonight going to somewhat tell us who they are, yeah. Grant? Same thing with the Bengals.
Yes. You look at Buffalo and what they did against Miami in their last game, and look at all the time they've had to prepare for this game.
Yep. Al Michaels reminded us about 10 times.
Yes, he did, didn't he? And then you have the Commanders and the Bengals.
Yes, and the Bengals, again, they get blown off their home field by a bad New England team week 1. And week 2, they show up, play a damn good game. They called a bad timeout on 4th down against Kansas City. Kansas City gets the PI call, goes on to win. So which Bengals team shows up? Are they going to be competitive? Because they can't fall much further behind in that division, Grant. With the
I would say they have very little chance of making the playoffs if they lose this game. I'm expecting the Bengals to come out and roll in this game. I don't even think the game will be close.
Interesting. See, I've had this gut feeling all day. They just don't, sometimes like Buffalo too, they don't show up against teams they're supposed to beat. And in some ways, you've got Jacksonville against Buffalo that's got their backs against the wall. And you've got a Washington Commanders team with a rookie quarterback that's getting the national stage for the first time.
No question. I think these are very intriguing games, but I think the game that you were just referring to, Buffalo and Jacksonville, we're going to find out a lot about these teams tonight. Now when you get into week 3 and week 4, you kind of know where you're at. And I don't have a read on either of these Buffalo. I don't have a Buffalo or Jacksonville. I don't have a good read on either of these teams.
Well, Trevor Lawrence has not pulled any punches. He's pissed. He is mad. He does not like playing mad, so I expect them to come out with a little bit of fire. Travis Etienne, hopefully he's able to run the ball effectively. I think both are actually going to be good games, but if Buffalo plays the way they did in Miami, then yeah, Jacksonville has no chance.
I mean, the Bills are winning. I give them credit for that, but last week they looked good. In their opening game, they did not look good. Whereas Jacksonville, they're in the same boat as Cincinnati. These are almost must-win games for these teams.
Yep, they absolutely are. It's hard to think about being in a must-win situation this early in the season, and to bring it back locally, your Niners are damn near close to that position.
Well, I said this, and I believe you agreed with me. I didn't have a good read on a good feel about the 49ers through their entire training camp. And we talked about that on this show. As a matter of fact, when I did my podcast on my NFC preview, I had them being last year's Philadelphia Eagles.
That's right.
All right. And I had them not winning the division. Now, I would say this. They're not in a danger zone yet, okay? But if they lose Purdy on top of everything else, I don't think they rebound from this. I just don't.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really tough. You look at the timing of the injuries and guys coming back. I mean, we're talking about injuries that, and we're no doctors, and I'm no doctor, but that can linger. It's the soft tissues, hamstrings, groins, calves. But Brock Purdy, they are, what's the record? 21-5?
Yep.
All time with Brock Purdy. Brandon Allen is not stepping into those shoes, and a loss to New England, that would not be good at home.
No, and they do play New England coming up, and then they've got divisional games with, I think, Arizona and the Seahawks. You know, they are. If there's such a thing as a must-win game for San Francisco, it is coming up this week against New England. You are absolutely correct.
It's a get-right game. They've got to find a way to get right. And Brandon Ayuk needs to start looking like Brandon Ayuk again through 3 games. He's shown a flash here or there, Grant, but nothing like a $30 million receiver per year.
All right, so now let's talk about, with 3 weeks gone by, if the Dallas Cowboys lose on Thursday at the Giants, you are going to hear big-time rumblings in Dallas about Mike McCarthy. All right? He is going to be facing big-time scrutiny and backlash. I don't think the Cowboys will lose on Thursday. They match up very well against the Giants. The Giants... They don't match up well against the Cowboys. I'll tell you one thing the Giants have. They have a emerging star in their wide receiver, Malik Neighbors. He is the real freaking deal.
Special, big, incredible hands, keeps his head down. Exactly what you want with a rookie like that. Usually you see it the other way. You've seen it both ways. You had Odell in New York, Grant, which was a little bit the opposite personality-wise.
Much more, night and day. Plus, I think Neighbors is more talented than Odell Beckham. So this is going to be interesting to see. Daniel Jones, by the way, who got destroyed by everybody and was made fun of, was the butt of a lot of jokes after week 1, has now played well in back-to-back games. The Giants should have won at Washington. The reason why they didn't is their kicker got hurt, Graham Gano, on the opening kickoff, and the Giants missed extra points and field goals. They couldn't kick because they didn't have a kicker. And they lost a game that they would have won. They would be 2-1 right now.
Yeah, they would be, and that defense showed some life yesterday. That defensive line finally got some rush, and look, it's a division game. Anything can happen in the division games, as Finchy says. That's why they play them.
Are we done with Deshaun Watson yet? Can we just move on from him?
I wish. It's going to be interesting to track this latest allegation, Grant, and how that plays in to his contract situation, because there's a possible route that the Browns could be done with him, depending on how that turns out.
If the Browns were able to get out of his contract, you know that they will.
Yes.
All right. We thought that Cleveland had maybe shown some life last week when they won at Jacksonville. But, maybe Jacksonville's not that good this year. I mean, if they have a bad outing tonight, what are we going to say? We're going to say, gee, you know what? They're just not that good. They're 0-3, and they're not as good as we thought.
It's a great point. That's why I think tonight's football games are so interesting. We're going to learn a lot more about some teams that were supposed to be possible playoff teams.
All right, so here's the schedule for the next couple of days. You're off tomorrow. Tomorrow,
Yes.
I am doing a show at 8 o'clock. All right, so tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Then on Wednesday, Sean Salisbury will be joining me right here on If You Don't Like That. That's coming your way at 3 o'clock.
Don't miss that show. Tons of football where you get it really, really good. Here's a question for you, Grant. Where do you think the Watson trade will rank as one of the worst trades of all time?
Horrible, awful.
Yeah.
Going to be right up there.
I will say this. He has, although his contract is an outlier, Napes, you've seen more guaranteed money getting to quarterbacks, getting closer and closer to that fully guaranteed number.
Well, I think his time in Cleveland is coming to an end in one way or another, because he has not shown me the light at the end of the tunnel where I can look at him and go, you know what? He's the guy. He's the reason why we paid him. He's going to take us to where we need to go. I don't get that feeling at all with Deshaun Watson.
No, and you need to almost be over the top with it with your play. Your play has to be that much better to make up for the off the field distractions. But then even on the field, it doesn't seem like he's the leader of that team. It doesn't seem like guys rally around him. And quite frankly, it doesn't seem like Cleveland is all that happy to have him on the field.
It doesn't seem that way.
Nope.
Doesn't seem that way. All right, so let's play what ifs now.
Yeah.
If Brock Purdy is out, and we don't know that yet, and you have a game coming up Sunday with no Christian McCaffrey, no Deebo Samuel, don't know about George Kittle, but I'm going to throw him in there for sake of conversation, and no Purdy. Why would anyone pick them to beat New England?
Because New England's offensive line is that bad. They have no passing game. They didn't throw for 70 yards last week, the week before, not even 20.
Awful.
So they should be able, theoretically, to get it done. You got questions about Brissett, Grant. Is he going to be good to go? Does Drake May get his first start? So you should think the Niners would get by, right?
I would think so. I mean, I would think this is a game where their defense could win the game.
Yes.
Right?
If they come together and quit making stupid mistakes. 111 yards in penalties, and that was the entire team, but costly penalties at bad times.
All right. Again, if you want to talk about this, or what about the Oakland A's final games at the Coliseum? I'm not in Sacramento right now. What's the talk been in the area leading up to this?
Mixed, very mixed. The ticket prices have gone up. Some of the highest price of the season to see a game, and it's really not changed much, Grant, about those that are in favor of the A's being here and those that don't want to see anything related to John Fisher.
Yeah, I understand the bitterness towards John Fisher. I get all of that, but listen, when teams leave, there's never it's never pretty, right? It's never a good thing. It's awful. It really is. In this case, I 100% understand it, and I put a lot of blame on the fans. And a lot of Oakland fans don't want to hear that, but I'm sorry. You've never supported your team. So I don't want to hear about, John Fisher. You didn't support the team before John Fisher owned the team. So let's just call it the way it is, okay? You have about 20,000 hardcore loyal A's fans that are, to the bone A's fans, and that's it. And I'm sorry, but that's just the truth of the matter. I've lived in Sacramento since 1987. I've been through a lot of different ownerships. I've been through great success. I've been through World Series appearances. I've been through, 97 to 100 win seasons where you still didn't show up, where you couldn't even put fans in the upper deck at the Coliseum because tickets weren't being purchased. So I don't want to hear about, they shouldn't have left. You had a chance to support the team. You didn't support the team. Now, I'm not defending John Fisher because he's been a horrible owner, but you didn't support the team before John Fisher. Yeah,
here's the other thing that I kind of lay off the fans in this sense. If you look at the Giants, Grant, look at how they built the ballpark. If you're not a big baseball fan, it's a beautiful park. It's a great place to go have a night out. The Coliseum, not so much. And that's where it's tough. You almost, as an A's fan, want to watch it from TV rather than be there because it's a dump. What else do you want to say about it?
Well, here's what I say about that. You're right. But when you go to a game and you're sitting in your seat, what's wrong with the Coliseum? Maybe going to the bathroom's not a pleasant experience. Maybe you don't have the variety concession-wise that you have at San Francisco. But, like, why do you go to a game for? Why do you go to a game?
But
To watch the game, right?
Yeah,
But now,
isn't that...
but here's the deal. Now, in today's society, like going to Golden One Center, you need bells and whistles to feel like you're getting value for your money. It's like you'd rather drive a really nice car than a really bad car.
Yeah.
But once you're in, like, I went to the Coliseum last year in September. I watched the game between the A's and the Tigers because my buddy was the home plate umpire and I wanted to see him work. And I was sitting at the game and I was walking around because I knew it would be my last time at the stadium. And I was saying to myself, as I was in the stands, and the fans that were there that night were very loud and very into the game, I was like, this is fine. I don't have any problem watching a game there. I didn't.
Well, and I don't know off the top of my head what the pricing is and where they stand relative to other Major League Baseball teams, but I'd say this: if you're paying a price tag where the bells and whistles are everywhere else and you're not getting that, I think that's part of the objection. Maybe it's not we need them.
I agree.
But pricing,
and I don't know what the pricing is for their tickets. I had my ticket comp by the umpire, so I have no idea what the price was. And listen, I understand it's not like going to, the Giants game or going to Safeco in Seattle I get all of that. I'm not defending the Coliseum as like some place that I would want to go to. All I'm saying is once you're in your seat and you're watching a game, it's fine,
Yeah, that experience getting to your seat, I have not been to the Coliseum in 10 years, but the last time I was there was one way in publicly and one way out for the most part on each side of the.
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, you go off 66th Avenue or you go on the south side of the stadium, so that's still true.
Okay, it was $50 for parking. $50.
Yeah, see, that's a real problem right there. That's a real problem.
It's crazy.
I get it. Yep, it is crazy. All right, again, if you want to get in on the program, we would invite you to do so. We're talking about a variety of topics. Again, a doubleheader tonight. The first game starts here in a couple of minutes with Buffalo and Jacksonville, and then Cincinnati and Washington to follow.
Looking forward to it. Also, probably your last chance. I'm telling you, this is your last chance to get in our Pro Pick'em league through Yahoo. Third year doing it. If you want to get in there, you can pick tonight's games. And inevitably, somebody's going to forget to pick a week. It happens. It's a long season. The winner of the league gets 2 $100 gift cards. We'd love to have you. So get in there. There's the information right there. Speaking of which, Grant, we have 9 players that are picking over 500.
Wow.
It's pretty darn good.
That's surprising because there's been a lot of crazy scores this week. A lot of craziness. Hey, don't forget about SackServicePlumbing.com. That's New Works Plumbing. They have got a fixed view, and they're available around the clock for all of your plumbing needs and repairs. Again, just go to SackServicePlumbing.com or call the number on your screen for any plumbing issues you have. New Works Plumbing, they've got a fixed view. And don't forget about the newest residential community, Sunrise Landing. It is in Colusa, and you can get all the information you need by going to ColusaSunrise.com. This is from Blazona Development in Colusa. And the models are beautiful. You have many to choose from, different lot sizes, no Mellorews, no homeowners, all right, adjacent to the Colusa Golf and Country Club, good access to I-5, the other highways. It's really an interesting and beautiful place to live. Sunrise Landing in Colusa. Check it out by going to ColusaSunrise.com. We are wrapping up the week in the National Football League with 2 games remaining tonight, and we'll keep our eye on both of them and talk about them on the show tomorrow. And, of course, I'll follow up on Wednesday at 3 o'clock right here with Sean Salisbury.
Can't wait for that. Make sure you got your picks in, as we said, and Grant, we are steamrolling towards another basketball season. We're almost a month away, buddy.
We are almost a month away. Wow. How about that, huh?
Almost
Wow.
to the day. It's going to be fun. The excitement is building for Kings basketball. So make sure you are here.
Got to hope for a little luck too with the health. I mean, again, I'll just say this: if De'Aaron Fox gets hurt, the Kings are screwed. That's just the reality of the situation.
Yep, they are thin at that position. DeMar can do some things, not that much.
No, I mean, they need him. They need him, definitely.
Absolutely. So which way are you going tonight on both games?
I am taking Buffalo and I'm taking Cincinnati. What about you?
I'm going to go the opposite. I am going to go Jacksonville in Cincinnati.
Really? You're going Jacksonville?
I'm going to go Jacksonville. Buffalo sometimes does not show up, or they start slow at home. They did it the first game of the season. Jacksonville's back is against the wall. If I'm wrong, their season's probably done, but I'm going Jacksonville in the first one.
Okay. So you just think it's a desperation type of a game for them, right? Like it's like what we saw yesterday from 0-2 teams.
A little bit, but I also think Trevor Lawrence is too good not to get going. I think that offense has shown a lot more than it has in the past couple weeks. I get Evan Ingram's out tonight with the pulled hamstring, but I just think Buffalo sometimes is wildly inconsistent. And that's why I said tonight we're going to learn a lot about some of these teams.
Well, I think Buffalo showed me something last week, and they're not going 17-0. I would agree with you, but I just don't have any confidence in Jacksonville after watching them the first 2 weeks.
Well, what about that Miami team? They're as done. Much? Okay, well, was last week as much about what Miami didn't do as
could very well be
what Buffalo did? So
that's a great point.
Those are the questions. Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
It takes me 3 to 4 weeks to figure out who's for real and who's not.
Yep, absolutely. It's going to be a fun night of football. Hopefully, we don't have too many more Monday night doubleheaders.
Yeah, I definitely not fun. That's for sure. But I would agree with everything you're just saying. We don't have full reads on teams. I think after 3 weeks, you start kind of getting there.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going overboard on Minnesota. I believe that after watching them for 3 games, they're a good football team. Yep. I don't know if they're a Super Bowl team, but I think they're a good team.
I've always been one to say I'd rather finish strong than start strong because the season's so long. But Minnesota, that defense, it translates. And Brian Flores has proven that he can stifle some damn good quarterbacks. In fact, Brock Purdy, there was audio of him going up to him after the game and said, "Your scheme's crazy."
Yep. Well, think about that.
That's not again, Brock Purdy.
I look at coaching and I look at what Mike Tomlin does in Pittsburgh, and I would never count a Mike Tomlin team out. I just would not count a team out. And speaking of teams, I'll tell you, I thought Bo Nix played well yesterday for Denver.
He did. I thought that they got him out a little bit more. They got him started early, gave him some confidence. Tampa maybe looking ahead to next week, but good for them to get off the mat. Another team, Grant, this isn't widely talked about, Detroit. They've won 9 straight after losing a game. That tells you something about a team.
It does tell you something. A hard-fought win against Arizona, coming off the loss that they had. That was a very big win for the Detroit Lions. Hey, I hope you got to Bennett's over the weekend for their outstanding brunch. Sacramento, Roseville, and the Westside Grill in Rockland. Prime seafood and steak at Bennett's. Go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com to make a reservation and more. That's Bennett'sRestaurants.com. Prime seafood and steak at Bennett's. And don't forget about their happy hours every day, 2 to 6. Their sips and taste. It is outstanding. Bennett'sRestaurants.com.
Get there. Perfect weather this last weekend for brunch, by the way. Get to Bennett's.
Good weather, huh? Yeah, this is the best time of year in Sacktown.
Favorite season of the year. Easy. Yeah. Easy.
Absolutely. Well, we got games coming up. We'll go a couple more minutes. Again, you're off tomorrow. You're not doing a show tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be off. Might be compromised. Might not be able to talk very well. Might be entertaining for all of you, but not for me.
I could make a comment right now, but I won't.
I won't. Fair enough. Fair enough. Dave, yes, Bennett is great. In fact, if you're near one of the 3 locations, happy hour, sips and tastes, 2 to 6.
Yes.
Get down there for the start of Monday Night Football.
Good place to watch the games too, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So you think Jacksonville wins tonight. So you think when I come on my show tomorrow, I'll be talking about a resurgent Jacksonville team that look like that they're the team that has a chance to do something this year?
I'm not so sure it's going to be that far, but I think it's going to that parlayed, maybe a little toned down. I think Buffalo's going to be a little flat. I think you're going to be talking about a Buffalo team that just was not firing on all cylinders. I just don't
How
see
could they
it.
be flat on a game of this magnitude on Monday Night Football at home?
Grant, it's happened many times in the past with Buffalo. Hell, they've come out flat in the playoffs before, and especially at home. I don't have the numbers in front of me, so I hope I'm wrong. I think that Sean McDermott needs to get it done in that city, but sometimes the offense gets off kilter. If they stay balanced, that may help things.
Well, if they don't get it done this year, McDermott will not be around after this year.
You've done almost as much as you can. You trade your best receiver, Stephon Diggs. You make the little changes. It would be time to go for sure.
How do I handicap the Giants Cowboys on Thursday? The Giants do not match up well against Dallas at all. Their back end, they don't have anybody that can guard CeeDee Lamb. The pressure and Micah Parsons of the Cowboys will be too much for Daniel Jones. The Giants just don't match up. They don't match up, plain and simple. I don't see them being able to protect their quarterback. And the Giants' defense, their weak spots is their secondary. They can get to the quarterback, but they don't have players on the back end for particularly CeeDee Lamb. And if you can't neutralize him, he'll have a big game. I just don't like the matchups here. Now the Giants are playing. Their last 8 quarters have been pretty good quarters of football. So they're going to enter this game with a great deal of confidence, knowing that it's a divisional game and they can get back to 500. But I don't like the matchups in this game. I just don't. And Dallas, they're in one of these situations that we just talked about with these other teams. They've been embarrassed 2 weeks in a row, and there are going to be a lot of people on the hot seat if they lose Thursday to the Giants.
Yeah, it's a great point. Jerry Jones was not happy after the game when he was asked about signing Derrick Henry and there not being enough money. So you can only imagine the temperature probably right now in Dallas.
They have no running game at all in Dallas.
None. Zeke looks 2 steps slow, not a step slow, 2.
As Jerry Reynolds likes to say about athletes that are done, he's a dead horse.
Yeah, unfortunately.
He's a dead horse.
Yeah, I know. The fact that he's starting, that tells you something. That tells you something right there.
I look at matchups when I look at teams that are going against one another. You know, the Giants have a lot of confidence right now. Dallas can't have a lot of confidence, but I just don't see the Giants back end being able to slow down the Dallas receivers. I just don't.
Well, they would have to be able to, and this is a better question for you. How is the Giants' running game if they can control the ball, keep Dallas off the field?
Their running game's the Singletary is pretty good and has really done a nice job, and the Giants' run blocking's been pretty good.
Well, there's your path to victory right there. Throw in a little bit of Daniel Jones here and there, Malik Neighbors. You pound the ball and keep Dak and CD on the sidelines.
You know, I look at Dallas, and I think they've got fundamental problems with their organization that I've talked about for years and years and years. So regardless of the game plan and what the Giants want to try to do, I just don't. The Cowboys, to me, are a dysfunctional franchise because of their owner, and they're never going to win. They're just not.
Amen. In fact, I think we have somebody here that wants to speak on the subject. John, Cowboys fan, what's up?
How's it going, Ryan? How's it going, Grant? How are you this Monday?
I'm good, buddy. Good to hear from you.
Hey, well, hey, your Giants, Grant, like we've been saying, they play pretty decent defense. They've just got, like you've been calling it, the no offense or something like that. But their defense, they play pretty well. And this coming Thursday, if they can stop the run, which everybody can stop, if they can run the ball, they're going to have a good chance, because that's what my Cowboys cannot do, is they simply cannot stop the run. But it's
They-
any given Sunday. Your Giants played pretty dang well last couple weeks.
They did. And, they also are facing a team. I don't want to say that Daniel Jones runs the ball like Jackson does with Baltimore. But what I am saying is Daniel Jones is very elusive and can use his legs to make plays. So the Giants running game on Thursday, I think, will be successful. I really do.
Yeah, I agree with you, Grant. I agree with you there. Daniel Jones, he's elusive, but you know what? He's elusively fast too. You don't think he's that fast, but when he's on the field, he's got long strides. He's like a gazelle out there. As long as he's not tripping over a hash mark like he did a couple years ago, the guy's pretty quick and pretty elusive.
Patrick says I didn't even mention Parsons. I did mention Micah Parsons. I've mentioned him already twice on the show. What's that?
I was saying Daniel Jones, he's deceptively elusive and deceptively quick too. He's fast. He's got long strides. And as for Micah Parsons, I just don't know what's up with the whole defense. Actually, the whole strategy, Grant, and taken from your take, it almost makes me want to root for the freaking Giants this weekend. So McCarthy's on the hot seat because in my opinion, he should have been on the hot seat the last year and the previous year. And Jared just keeps signing him back. 12 wins. Oh, that's good enough. Let's go. Man, I want more than 12 wins. I'd rather have 9 or 10 or 11 wins, make the playoffs and go deeper than have 12 or 13 wins and take a shit in the first round of the playoffs. It's no fun.
Yeah, but if you get rid of McCarthy, guys, you still got Jarrett.
Well, Ryan, you are right about that. So I don't know what to do about all that, man. You got to start somewhere, don't you? I just don't know. Hey, Ryan, like I always say, this is why we play him, man. That's why we love football. That's why we love sports, man. Just find out the outcome. And hey, you guys, I got to tell you, I still love your platform, Grant.
Thank you,
Keep
buddy.
up the great work. Ryan,
You.
you're doing a freaking fantastic job too. I love the King's Court. I can't always get in every show at 8 or 4 or whatever, but when I can, I love to do it. And if I can't get in on it, I usually try and listen to them later. Gentlemen, keep up the good work. Talk to you later in the week.
Take care, buddy. Good hearing from you. All right, so here's the deal. We got the game starting now. First game, then a little bit. The second game. So we'll let you go. We'll watch NFL football with you, and we will talk a lot about the NFL coming up on shows. Again, I'll be going tomorrow at 8:00. So join me tomorrow night, 8:00 Pacific. Then Wednesday with Sean Salisbury. Sean's the best.
He is absolutely the best. This guy's doing everything, helping the animals, becoming a mediator, and he knows football pretty damn well.
Have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the games, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye now.